Shall we pray? Most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day. Thank you for Sullivan County. Thank you for the privilege of being able to serve the people of Sullivan County and the ability to live in such a beautiful state and county and country. Please be with us tonight. Bless us as we do the work that we hope is pleasing in your sight. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Vanover. Sheriff Cassidy.
Attention, salute the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Has everyone recorded their presence? Madam Clerk.
17 present, 7 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have a quorum to proceed with the rezoning hearing. First, without objection, the first order is item discuss anything on the zoning. We'll allow you to do that during the public comment portion of the zoning hearing. But without objection, when the board opens, please cast your vote on item number 1. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
17 yes, 7 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 1 is approved. We'll go into recess for the purpose of public hearing on the zoning amendments. If anyone is here for public comment, let's allow Mr. Mead the opportunity to share his information, answer questions from the commission relevant to the amendments, and we will recognize you from the public on the amendment. Without objection, Mr. Mead.
Thank you. Only got one for y'all tonight. This is a rezoning for David and Brenda Byerly. It's within Kingsport's urban road boundary, so it went to their planning commission. It comes to you with a positive recommendation from both their staff, our staff, and the planning commission. It's a rezoning from B3 to R1. It's off of Green Lake Drive in Kingsport. If you'll see in your packet, this is designated in Kingsport's future land use plan and our land use plan as a residential area. It's completely surrounded by residential. So we just need to get this cleaned up for them so that they can place a home on the property.
Thank you, Mr. Mead. You've heard the explanation on the amendment. Anyone seek recognition for questions, comments on the amendment? Mr. Mead, is there anyone here that wishes to speak on it?
Yes, sir.
If you will, sir, introduce yourself, your address.
David Byerly, I'm the property owner, and it's been a long struggle for my wife and I with our medical histories trying to get this resolved, okay? And I'm not going to go into it. I went into the detail with Kingsport when I went to the hearing there of all the issues and all the costs it's cost us waiting to get our home put up. I do want to appreciate Mr. Vanover for making a phone call and pushing this to at least get our house put on there to start with. And thank you, sir, for so much. It's made a huge difference. So it's, I don't, like I said, without going into a lot of detail, It's just been a rough struggle for my wife and I for the last 2 months, waiting on our home with the medical histories that we have. I have to have open heart surgery, my wife has cancer, we had no place to stay, we've been living in a camper, so it's been really rough trying to get this done, but thank you, I appreciate it. That's it.
If you're open to this, or does anyone have any questions for Mr. Byerly? Thank you very much, sir. Anyone else seek recognition? Without objection, when the board opens, please cast your vote on amendment number 1. Requires 13 votes for passage. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk?
18 yes, 6 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, the amendment is adopted. Mr. Meade, you have anything you wish to share before we turn you loose?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Without objection, that concludes the public hearing on zoning amendments. We're back on our regular calendar of the scheduled work session. How many minutes late? Next order is public comment on agenda and non-agenda related items. If anyone wishes to speak to the commission from the public, we have sign-up sheets over there, agenda related and non-agenda related. Anyone wish to sign up for either of those that didn't get the opportunity? Anyone at all wish to sign up? Seeing none, without objection, the public comment portion of the agenda is closed. Without objection, next order is review of resolutions. Recognize item number 1, Commissioner King on item number 1.
Very good. Thank you. Resolution is to fixing the tax levy in Sullivan County for the year beginning July 1, 2025. That was the resolution that we brought forward, put it on first reading, and then we wanted everybody to have a chance, all the 24 commissioners to have a chance to talk about this, to ask questions, to give input, and that's what we're going to do here tonight. And hopefully we can come up with some answers and a direction of where we're going from here to get our budget set. And with that said, we got the tax rate that we brought forward, and that came from the budget committee. And we've been working on this since probably January. Administrative and executive brought their input to us and gave their recommendations, and we looked at that and we put all this together, and then all the different department heads came and their request and what they needed to get through the next year. And we've been meeting about every Wednesday for the last, going right in 4 years or 4 months now. And this is what we came up with. So with that said, I've talked to several and had several phone calls that said that they would not be in favor of voting for this. And we needed a chance to, and this is what we're doing here tonight, have a chance to get cuts. If people wants to cut, then that tonight is the time to do that. And I think that if you all follow the budget and where we're at here, if we're going to do any major cuts or get any to lower the tax rate, you're going to have to get in personnel, and that's where it's at. The biggest place that you could cut would be the sheriff's department. And, you know, with personnel that's going to be hired for the jail when it opens, and all the equipment and stuff that is going to be used in the jail is also included in that. So I think we can go through this whole budget and nitpick, but it's not going to amount to anything. You can get 100,000 here or something, but you're not going to get to the point of where you're going to lower the tax rate down, any size. So with that said, I guess I'm going to throw it out there to, does anybody want to talk about cuts for the, what the proposal is for the sheriff's department? And if there is, I think we need to, if you got something you need to say, then let's hear it and then we'll consider it. But if not, if we don't hear anything, then we'll move on to the next item.
Thank you, Commissioner King. You've heard explanation on item number 1. The floor is open for discussion on item number 1. And just a reminder, we won't be voting on any of these items tonight, but discussion and suggestions can be made, and we will take those. We will consider those next week. Recognize Commissioner Locke.
Thanks, Chair. This question is for Larry. Larry, if we do a 6-cent tax increase from 9, can we work that through the general fund?
We would work with it. If it was a choice of this body to reduce it, do that, we would do everything we could to make it work.
And if we did do that, do you feel that we would be okay?
Well, I feel like that some of the things that we have done in the past few years of adding major amendments during the year will not work in this particular tight budget. And I think that should be expected. We'll be holding it down. There's not a lot of fluff in it. That would make real differences when we've amended the budget in the last several years by sizable amounts. But as long as we understand that we can't go into major new endeavors with this particular budget, that's what we got to work with, and it's a reasonable thing to do.
So with that being said, for the last couple of years, the projections from Larry's office has been somewhat low. We've always been over those projections. And I think we're going to be over those projections this coming year. Money's not being held, it's people still spending. We've got good returns. So with that being said, I guess we go back to Mr. King, find an issue of reducing it from 9 to 6, and we leave it there, taking the rest out of the general fund.
Recognize Commissioner King.
I think that is something we could look at. I'd like to hear from other people that's got their own opinions, and when we get everybody has a chance to talk, I think then we need to come back and see where we're at and what we've got, and then we'll make some decisions. I'm not saying no or yes, but we'll consider it.
Understood. Thank you.
All right.
Commissioner Iverson.
Just looking at the document that we have on page 5, it talks about the amount that we put in from the fund balance last year and then the amount we put in for fund balance this year. I guess it's the main document, it's a little bit further back, the second one has 5 pages. Yeah, it's an actual budget. But last year, we used $4.8 million. This year, we're using just flat $2 million and 45,000. I'd like to see us go back to that same exact number. If we did the same number that we used last year to do this year's budget, we know it worked last year. I think that it's enough room in there to work with that. And if we did that, use the exact same number, the budget goes down a little over 4 cents, 4.1 cents. And that takes us down below a nickel. It's 4.9, 4.8, somewhere there. So my recommendation would be pretty much the same thing Hunter's saying, but instead of doing that, just say the number that we used last year, which is exactly here, and it takes us down quite a bit. So that's my recommendation.
Okay? Anybody else?
Commissioner Ward.
Thank you. Larry, have we taken a look at what other departments are going to turn back in? What's on average turn back in?
On average, we don't use up what we appropriated from fund balance. We're in the first stages of closing out the records. We can see what some figures are looking like. Sometimes they do change. It can only take one surprise coming in that's not available. It can change things. At the same time, we may have receivables that come in a little better than we expected. But right now, it looks like that we're going to be in very good shape for this year's fund balance. It's improving. Last year it improved. And if we improve on top of last year's, then we've got quite a bit of fund balance.
How much was returned last year?
I don't have that particular figure. We grew by $3 million or more last year. That'd be between revenues and expenditures together.
So $3 million was returned? Is that what you're saying?
Gained that much.
Gained that. Would you say we could gain that much this year too?
There's a possibility of it, yes, sir.
Mr. King, is the sheriff's department the only place we can cut?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. That's how you started the conversation.
Give opportunity to answer his question.
That's where we're starting. I didn't say
Let's
that.
start at the highway department.
Well, we could,
Let's start at the mayor's office.
but the sheriff's department's the biggest. I'm not saying that that's what we need to do. I'm saying that's where we could, if that's what everybody would, if everybody wanted to vote for, we could do that. I'm not saying that that's what we should do. All right.
Thank you.
Commissioner Akers.
There we go. Kind of follow up with what Larry said and what I think Hunter was going towards. I've done it before. We have a real knack for spending money after we set a budget. And I think that's the biggest key on trying to keep a tight budget is we've got to be mindful of not trying to spend money through the year with all these amendments. I know one year, I think we had 60-some amendments or something. And that really, really affects the time and effort that Larry and Leslie and their department have to handle. I do think we can probably, there's not a lot of, I mean, and I don't want to get personal. I think what Dwight was trying to say is one of the biggest areas is personnel with the new hiring. That's going to happen. We all know that. That's been years. There's not a lot of cut unless you go from a 5% pay increase to maybe 3% or 2.5%. But at the same time, I do think we have an opportunity to lessen the tax rate. And then we have to be mindful of, are we going to actually stick to a budget? And I think that's the biggest key is not coming in here with expenditures unless there's some emergency expenditures that just have to happen. And they do happen. I mean, there has been some, but all the departments have presented their budgets. Budget committee has met, has presented it. And I do think we can whittle down maybe three cents or so and be okay. But then we better be mindful of sticking to that budget throughout the year. You know, and I think that's the biggest key. And remember, if we come up with someone has a amendment to spend money, you better have a really good reason for it during the year, if we're gonna do this.
Thank you, Commissioner Eckert. Commissioner Slagle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually echo everything Commissioner Eckert just said, but I had a question for Commissioner King related to, see, page 18 on the budget has $800,000 assigned to go to NETA. I would see us removing that completely. I'm confused as to why that's there, because we've got, I know the pages are somewhat, the numbering restarts, but a few pages over when it restarts to page 1 on schedule of revenues on the general fund, if you go about halfway down that first table of data, the estimated hotel motel tax collection is $710,000. So the resolution that came through here is only a percentage. We don't need
Larry, would you answer that? Because you and Leslie are the ones that come up with those figures to put them in.
What we did, to be clear, people pass resolutions sometimes and they don't amend the budget. Based upon the resolution that's been passed is what we intended. That's not spending the money, that's just setting it aside so it can be spent whenever they have met their resolutions call.
Okay, does that answer your question?
not at all, really. So we're going to accrue $800,000 of taxpayer money in the nonprofit section. So that's where it's at. We're going to put that in a bucket, and we don't need to. So there's only 710 forecasted. So the most you would even get if you were going to try to allocate a bucket out of the forecast is 355. If you wanted to round it up to 4, just to be safe, you could, but it doesn't need to come out of a taxpayer allotment, and we're having an allocation of $800,000. I don't even know who came up with that number for $800,000. I don't know why it's there. We're also opening ourselves up here to September 1, this stuff's going to get pulled for the hotel motel tax. And this county's a short walk from being on that list, I'm certain. Need to clean that up.
Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Chairman. Representing the city of Bristol, we need to be sensitive to the fact that the cities here, Kingsport and Bristol, are both increasing their tax rates significantly. In Bristol, it was approved this week with a 33% increase. So I just want to make sure that this commission is sensitive to that and compassionate when it comes to people who are on fixed incomes. They have 2.5% increase in Social Security. They are in a difficult position, and I just think we need to get as close as we can to zero. If we have a way to do it, and I agree with the fact that we don't need to be looking at one department, but letting us share this across the board with all the departments, perhaps everyone taking a look and saying, how much can we cut to get this down so we can get as close to zero as possible. We're paying people on the taxpayers' backs, and we need to be sensitive about that at all times. And so I don't have any specific other than saying, can we not go back to each department and saying, what can you cut that we can help us get down to this as close as zero. Thank you.
Commissioner Jones.
I think sometimes, and the NETA is one of them, the hotel motel tax is a user fee that accumulates. It's not a tax dollar, it's a user fee. And we're fortunate that we have that. I didn't vote for that resolution, but the resolution was 50% that first, and then 25%, I think, each draw after that. That's where we got to that number. And well, I hope we have a lot more users, but I personally, I would agree that I think that number's really high for that. But it's a user fee, it's not a tax dollar.
That clears the board. Does anyone else seek recognition? Commissioner King, I'll give you the final word on item number 1.
Okay. We started with the biggest. I think the next place that we could look at is the highway. We're talking $2 million there. The state is not giving the highway the money that they had been, so they're going to be short about $2 million this year. And we, in the budget committee, we put $2 million into the budget for the highway department, so they would be able to keep on paving this year. Sullivan County's got roughly 900 miles of roads. We try to pave every 20 years, but that hasn't been happening. And if you pave every 20 years, that's 45 miles of road every year. And to do that, you know, we're going to have more money from somewhere to let the highway department keep on paving at the rate that they've been paving. So with that said, that's just another place that, you know, there's money that could be taken if we so desired and voted on it to do. And with that said, I'll open it up, and if anybody's got any thing to add to that, whether you want to cut or not to cut from the highway department, open the board.
Would you, Commissioner King, how would you feel about moving from item 1 to item number 2 if you're if we're wishing to start conversations about departmental specific budgets? We can move from
We can do that.
we can move from 1 to 2 now.
If
there's any objections.
I'm just getting where the money's at.
Okay. Is there any objection in moving from item 1 to item number 2? Without objection, Commissioner King, on item number 2, you've heard, I'll go ahead and recognize you one more time, Commissioner King.
All right, but that's, I guess that's the second largest pot we could pull from, but personally, I'm against it. I wouldn't vote for it. When I first come over here, the highway department was in bad shape. We had about 100 and, let's say the round number, 150 employees, and their budget was probably 65 to 70% payroll, and we did not, at the end of when we paid the payroll, we didn't have any money to do anything else with it. And with the shape of the trucks and everything that was there, all equipment, the paver was absolutely wore out. And we've turned that around, and we're paving. We've cut our numbers, our payroll down, and things are doing well. I commend Scotty for a lot of this. You know, he's done well with his budget and all of his people and his foremen and his people. And I think we need to keep the highway funded before we can, they can keep on paving. So with that said, Me, I'd be totally against it, but, there again, that's another pot of money we can draw from. If somebody wants to, comment on that, we'll open the floor for that.
And I will, just a reminder, resolution number 1, resolution fixing the tax levy in Sullivan County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1st. And item number 2, resolution authorizing appropriations for the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies of Sullivan County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1, 2025, ending June 30th, 2026. The floor is open for discussion on item number 2. Recognize Commissioner Slagle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question as it relates to planning and codes. We had some significant increases in fees. Have we factored that in here to what we could potentially collect through planning and codes revenue-wise? If you have a, and that may be from Larry, I apologize.
Mr. Bailey.
You're saying the planning commission's increasing the fees?
Yeah, it was a vote to increase a lot of the fees for planning and codes substantially. Just a question on whether that was factored in some way.
Is not factored in specifically because I believe this body acted on that the last commission meeting, and most of this was developed before that period. Of course, that's fees that would go into the fund balance if it comes in greater. That's say it would be some gain there we need quite a few scattered out. It would be a real significant amount.
Thanks, sir.
Commissioner Glover.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to have to go along with Dwight King on the highway department. When I first came here 7 years ago, probably the second resolution that we did in here was to provide the highway department with some equipment to work with. And I remember Commissioner Akert, I showed him some pictures of some of the things that these guys were working with. Dump truck with a hole in the floor when it pushed snow, the snow come up into the seat. They had a dump truck that really didn't even need to be on the road that these guys were working in every day. And they also had a 1974 road grader that had a Folgers coffee can hanging off the steering wheel to catch the power steering fluid to recycle it. Just to give you an example, over the years that they've had this equipment, some of the jobs that they've performed, if they didn't have that equipment, would take them 6, 8 months. Now it's taking them 2, 3. A bridge out in our section, if they hadn't had the equipment to work with, it would have probably took about 8 months to do that. They got it open in 2 months, got it open for school buses to pick up children and move forward. Another example is just last night. Storm came through, Bullock Hollow. Those guys worked over there till 11:30, 12 o'clock last night, getting trees off the road, clearing right of ways, making it accessible for people in that area. And then this morning at 8 o'clock, those same guys that was there last night was on the paving crew paving this morning. So those guys do a great job over there, and we need to support them in every way we can. We're trying to take care of that many miles of road with about 90 employees. And we all want good roads to drive on. We all want the roads paved. Sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to get to. But Jason Miller in Section 5 in their area last night, they come and responded and got the job done, and then they were back this morning. So I'm in support of leaving the highway department where it's at. If anything, we should do a little more for them. And like I said, good equipment, good people, and I think we need to think about something, and Scotty has reflected on this in here several times. The average age of his workers over there are over 50 years old. And if something happens, we're going to lose some of those folks. And there's no young people stepping up to do that. So, Scotty, thanks. Appreciate you. And those guys over there, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Glover. Commissioner Ward.
I don't think there's nobody that questions what Scott Murray does at the highway department, not even and their employees. Those guys go above and beyond. But I think the combination of a couple things, Hunter making a good point, Mark making a great point, and between matching the general fund from what we did from this past year, like Mark said. I think on average, probably 3 to 4 million come back from departments. Watching spending in 25, 26, not bringing every resolution, comes through here, daddy needs a new pair of shoes, and this place needs this, and we need that, emergencies only. You can't tell me we can't trim that budget from 9 cents down to 2 or 3. So I would strongly recommend that we take it back and take 3 very good recommendations into consideration and see what we can do with that budget. So that's all I have.
Commissioner Jones.
This commission that's seated here today has done a lot of things in the past 4 years. We did spend money that we didn't have budgeted. But we built new EMS stations across the county, and they were needed badly. If you were ever in them, and with staffing and bathroom situations and just everything that was there, we needed those. We're finishing. I guess they're finishing up the grade work on the last one. Right now, we may have a remodel coming up over the end of the path, but as far as the new station being built on Colonial Heights. Solid waste, we've done so much in solid waste. And we're sitting in the best place in the state of Tennessee. I'm telling you, that group and what we've built and where we're going with solid waste, with the recycling, this county looks really good, what we're going to be able to do for this region. The fact that the school system came in with not asking for anything this year was huge. If you've been around here a while, you know how big that was, for them not asking for anything. And I agree with Hunter and Mark. I think if we can do what we did last year, and bring it down to the same from the general fund that we did last year, we'll be in good shape for this coming year. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Cross.
As I was flipping through here, all these great comments, but I had a small budget item I was going to bring up, and that was the 5-year plan for the fire departments and rescue squad, or first responders, that have been worked on by me and Mr. Glover about 3 years ago, back in 2022. And one of those stipulated that for 5 years we would not increase the budgets for any of the fire departments or first responders for those 5 years, because we set them equalized. And I looked through here and noticed there was $199 allocated that I thought the administrative committee had voted against, but not allocated for the other two here toward the bottom, City of Bristol, City of Kingsport. So if we're looking at cuts, I was going to say let's go back to the original 5-year plan and take those back down to 184.8. And that was my recommendation. Just that, stick to the 5-year plan that we agreed upon.
Commissioner Iverson.
Just want to say a couple of things, and I appreciate Commissioners King and Glover saying about Highway Department. I agree completely. The last thing we'll do is go back to where we were a few years ago. I mean, it's Scotty's done an amazing job. His whole department works hard. I don't want to see anything happen with them, and what we've done just puts a little bit of a Band-Aid on it, because it's still making them spend money on their general fund. So I'm with you guys. I don't think that should be touched. And one thing I would like to make sure everybody knows, because it happened in the Budget Committee, and I know the Budget Committee understands it, but the sheriff, I went talking to the sheriff, and we had a conversation about the new hires that he's having, and they're hiring these people starting in October. And he actually reduced his request for his budget item by over $400,000, because he's not going to be paying those guys for a full quarter. So just to let you know, I mean, that was a fantastic thing. I'm really glad he did that. He looked hard at his budget and was able to help us out. So I appreciate the work the sheriff did.
Commissioner Locke.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Cross, do you know where the 184, do you know what that goes to?
as I knew it, equipment and supplies, like
Okay.
air tanks, packs, and all
So,
that.
so the 184.8 changed to 199.8, okay?
Yes.
And that does not go towards supplies, equipment, air packs, that goes to personnel services. That's payroll. The guys at Warriors, Bloomingdale, and West make $12 an hour. The city of Bristol just got a big increase. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. City of Kingsport just got 18% increase
Okay.
last week, well, 2 weeks ago. So before we come up here in 18, the first responder program started in 16. They started out at $12 an hour. We come on in 18, me and you did, along with others. We kind of dropped the ball by not keeping them up to par to what they should be paid. And this 15,000 per department gets them to 13 an hour. It goes nothing to the department. We have to show it on this paper to the department because those personnel are within that department running the trucks. They don't, the personnel does not belong to the particular department. They're not members. If they were members and getting paid, it would violate the 501c3. These are contracted services, and the 15 grand that was added into these 3 particular lower end departments that run first responder calls is for their salary. The 5-year plan remains the same, as you see 138,664. None of that changes.
Now, I don't see the 138,662.
Well, there's 12 or 13 fire departments here in this county, and that's 138,664 all the way across the board. Rescue squads in the upper end, 70,589. They're matching.
Yes.
Kingsport Life Saving Crew is 270.
Yes.
Well, Kingsport Life Saving Crew, that's 270. Guess what? We don't get 270 at Kingsport Life Saving Crew. 90 grand of that 270 gets deducted and a check wrote to the city of Kingsport. As you know, we have a Kingsport Fire employee running the rescue squad truck. And we do a match. The city, county has an agreement, contract in place, and the county pays 90 grand and the city pays 90 grand for that first responder to run that heavy rescue truck. It even comes up here if it's needed. So that 199.8 is very well deserved, and they need it because we have dropped the ball by not keeping them up to par. When we do county increases on payroll, any general fund employee that gets an increase, if we send one out this year and it's 5%, those guys that are running those trucks, because they're not county employees, they're not getting that 5% increase. They've never got an increase since 2016 when the program was established, and it's time they get paid.
I agree with that. Why didn't they get paid when we increased them in 2022?
They did not get increased in 2022.
No, why didn't they? We gave them the increase then.
They didn't get any increase. It started 184.8 from day one. The only time they got an increase was maybe in COVID because fuel increases went up. Was that right, Herschel?
Do what now?
Did we not provide some more money to the fire department for gas for first response?
Just done a one-time,
That's right.
funding for that because of the COVID situation.
And the Kingsport Life Saving Crew got an increase too because fuel costs. They've never got a payroll increase at all. It's our fault they had, to be honest with you. We dropped the ball, and it's time we make it right. And if it was for supplies, trucks, and equipment, I'd be no for it. Okay?
Okay.
And that's why, when they came up here to Herschel in administrative committee, straight off the bat, it was 90 grand a piece? And I said, no, not at all. 90 grand don't work that way. I said, if it's strictly for payroll, we're gonna make it payroll. And it's gonna be a whole lot cheaper than 90 grand, and it's down to 15. That's for money only for payroll, nothing else.
So if any of this is being used for payroll in those other 2 departments, then we could match that in the other 2 departments.
The other 2 departments, City of Bristol, City of Kingsport, they handle their payroll. We need to handle ours. City just appropriated their budget. Kingsport appropriated theirs. And the money we give to City of Kingsport, the City of Bristol, has nothing to do with payroll. But this right here does. That's the first responder program.
Okay.
Commissioner Vanover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaking of that first responder program in the lower end, it's really, the level of service has really suffered because we just can't keep people in those positions at $12 an hour. And we've got one department, Bloomingdale's got one first responder because that's all they can, that's all that will apply for the job, one person. And I respect the 5-year plan, I do, I respect it, but I'm sure when a need arises, it can be amended, and I'm hoping we can amend it and give these people a little bit more money to try to live on. $12 an hour is just not a livable wage. And if it takes amending the 5-year plan, whatever it takes to do that, I hope we can do it just to try to provide the service for the folks in the lower end as well as the ones on the upper end, because they're really having trouble finding people to do those jobs for $12 an hour. So that's my take on that. And as far as the budget goes, I think what Commissioner Iverson says is a great idea. If we can match what we did last year from the general fund and get our tax increase down to 4 or 5 cents, I think that'd be great. So hope we can do that, and hope we can keep this money in for these first responders in the lower end that just can't make a living at $12. And you know, there's going to be somebody, some person in this lower end that gets in a ditch or gets in a fall and just can't get up and could die because they're not anyone there to come and help them. So that's why I'm so passionate about that. So I hope we can keep that in there. Thank you.
Commissioner Cross.
And what you just said, I agree completely. I respect the 5-year plan, which is why we're talking back and forth here over amount of 45,000 out or 30,000 in. And in respecting the 5-year plan, that was the whole point I brought this up. It was not necessarily where and how it's going, but if you brought those three up, 15,000, go ahead and do the 30 to keep the 5-year plan in place, just to keep everything on that equalization, so that in 2 years, in 3 years, whatever it may be from now, we can say, here's 2% more, boom, it goes out the same way to everybody, in respecting the 5-year plan. That's all I was trying to say. So I'm fine with 30 in instead of the 45 out. I agree with that. But let's respect that plan we put in place by keeping them the same.
Commissioner Vanover.
We need to respect it, but we also need to remember we're talking about not spending money unless we had to spend it, and try to be responsible with the taxpayers' money. It's like I said all along, you got 10 kids and one of them needs a pair of shoes, you can't buy them all a pair of shoes. We got a problem here with these 3 departments. We need to try to fix those 3 departments. If others have problems, come and we'll try to fix them when they come to us. Not try to give someone something that they haven't asked for.
Commissioner Cross.
These other departments did not come because they said specifically, we will not come back for 5 years. They respected what we had put in place. Now that part I am passionate about. When you say, you know, if they came, they would have come, I promise you. But they said specifically, we will not come back. I mean, I talked to Chief Perry, he said, no, I'm not going down there. I will not go down. We put this in place, and I will not show up down there again for 5 years.
We're starting to develop a debate back and forth, but I will recognize Commissioner Vanover.
Yeah, well, and I agree with that too, but the greatest thing about our type of government we've got in this county or this state or this country is it can be changed. The ones who wrote our legislation and our constitution, they knew that, and you can change the law when you need a reason for it to be changed. And if the ones on the other departments, you know, they didn't make more than $12 an hour. They make a lot more money than $12. So there's a need here and there's a problem here. And I ran for county commission just like everyone else in this room did to try to help people. And this is something that can help people. And that's all I'm trying to do is help people on the lower end. And if we've got to change a resolution or change something to try to do that, then so be it. And anytime someone has a problem, I hope they'll come to us. I hope we can try to fix it.
Commissioner Locke.
I'll just say this, if you want to take the money out, take it out. And this is what you'll do. It'll cost the taxpayers and this whole entire county about $5 million straight off the bat. And then each and every year after that, it'll go from 200,000 per department to about 3. And you'll spend $1 million for 3 departments. Instead of where you're at right now, 600 grand. Because when you kill this program, by not paying them $1.13 what they deserve, they're gonna walk. Okay? And then you're gonna have to implement EMA in the lower end. They won't be at that fire department. You'll have to buy land, you'll have to buy stations and buy trucks. And that's gonna cost right at $5 million right off the bat if you're lucky. So we can do 45 now and keep what we got, the best bang for our buck, or we can kill it tonight and they go home and we spend $5 million next month.
Commissioner Cross.
And which is why I said I am not for pulling out if we're agreeing.
Commissioner Cross, you have the floor, sir.
If we're agreeing by that 5-year plan, I said, just put 30 more in. It was just 30,000 to keep the plan in place. That was all it was. That's all I was trying to say. I was not trying to pull out. I was just saying either up or down. But to do this, this is where we wound up with when I came on, and they were all scattered. They were scattered at various amounts across the board. You couldn't do one. It had been done this way so many years, and we brought them all in. We had agreements signed by everybody. Every single chief sat down in that room and said, yes, we're good with this. And I understand what you were saying. You know, when you have something, you need to change that. I'm not saying this is so rigid it can't be changed, but that's why I'm here saying this, is we can change this and say, okay, this needed to happen. We're looking at 15,000, 30. Let's just put 2 more 15s in. That was all I was saying, to keep the plan in place. 30 extra thousand added to the 45.
Commissioner Crosswhite.
Thank you, Chairman. I wrestled with this, but I talked to my fire departments in my area, and they're fine with it. These people deserve more than $12 an hour. And $45,000 is not going to break the county, people. It's not going to budge the tax rate any. So let's give them their money and help them, and we'll work on the fire department plan when these 5 years are up. And I agree with Mr. Locke and Mr. Danover, so thank you.
Commissioner Locke.
So the 5-year plan is not being touched. This is contracted services. The 5-year plan was operating budgets per department, countywide, from fire departments to rescue squads. The $15,000 is going to payroll, contracted services for those employees within that fire department. It's still equal across the board. Going for payroll, salary. And I've had discussions with Herschel and long, hard discussions. I don't like it. He don't like it. And I want this put to rest. Because 15 grand could save somebody's life.
I agree with that.
And I don't think anybody that, if anybody in here doesn't understand it, then they need to come ride at one of these fire departments on a first responder truck to see what they do each and every day. Mr. Mays come up here in 16, and we got this program started, or the commission did in 16 before me, but I was heavily involved in it. And the reason it got started is because the calls were not being ran in those particular zones. It was only a med unit. And 2 people in an ambulance with the equipment that we use and take in to try to treat somebody in a pre-hospital care setting, you simply can't do it. And we need a 3rd man. They've had a 3rd man in the upper end for many, many years. And that's your EMA personnel. We never have had a paid guy in the lower end of the county as a 3rd man on a first responder or rescue truck since 16. And to sit here tonight and debate $1.13 and $15 per department is absurd. I see it each and every day. And when one of those guys can be there and maybe beat the med unit on scene by 5 minutes and get Ross on a cardiac arrest, and we can transport That's what it means. 15 grand is cheap.
That clears the board on item number 2. Anyone else seek recognition on item number 2? Are you trying to? Was you trying to get your?
Me?
Yeah, I thought I thought you were trying to get your button. I didn't think it was taken. I'm sorry, sir. Anyone seek recognition on item number 2? Is there any objection, Mr. King, to me recognizing him now on item number 3? Any objection to me recognizing Commissioner King on item number 3? Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up on item number 2?
Well, I've got one more scenario.
Commissioner King.
And the other scenario is a lump sum of money, and that is we proposed a pay raise for all the county employees. And I guess that's where we're at there. Do we want to give the employees of Sullivan County a pay raise this year? Or do we want to take that money and use it somewhere else? That's up to 24 people in here to do that. And that's the reason I brought this before the whole commission, is I want these different scenarios talked about. And I know in the past, sometimes we bring a budget in here and a lot of people don't know about things, and we rush it through, and I want everybody to understand where we're at. And that's what, that's the reason we're doing this. But there again, we'll go to raises for the county employees.
Without objection, recognize Commissioner Cowden.
Thank you, Chair. I highly recommend that we keep the county employee raise in the budget. The cost of living, everyone else gets it, and the only way that the county employees get a raise is through the budget. And 5% also, their insurance usually goes up some, so it's really not that much. And I just feel we need to keep it in the budget, 5%.
Commissioner Crosswhite.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with Commissioner Houghton. Our employees are our most valuable asset. We need to take care of them. I wish we could give them more than 5%, but they deserve it. They work hard every day, and I think it would be a shame if we even discuss about lowering this or cutting it out. So that's my say on that.
Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree. I think they're very deserving as well. I think we just have to make sure that everyone knows that the consumer price index, which is the rate of inflation, has gone down significantly. It's under 2.5, and it was more than that last year. So the county got a 5% increase last year, which was more than the 2.9 CPI. So it's just something that we need to make sure that we justify, and the people that are paying for this, the taxpayers, and again, I'm trying to be sensitive to the people that are on fixed incomes and the fact that they're having to pay for these increases, that we explain that and that they understand why we're going with a 5% increase. Thank you.
Commissioner Locke.
Larry, do you know what the insurance increase is this coming year? Health insurance. Do you know the increase on that?
It's got a slight change, but it's not substantial. We know what they're saying the percentage is, and it's staying within the range of what it is. Keep in mind, we all have to pay it for 6 months since it's January, and that is usually worked out each year without me. I don't think we've come and asked for more money for insurance for our employees in the general fund for several years. We just tend to work out within benefits and how they change and people change their coverage. So.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ward.
That employee raise barely covers the increase for insurance for some of these employees. So, you know, the majority of this bunch don't live in a gated community. They don't have that luxury of getting that raise and enjoying every bit of it. The majority of these people, blue collar workers, are just covering their insurance costs when it goes up. Because if you don't think the insurance company knows when an employee gets 3, 4, 5%, you're crazy. They're barely covering the cost of insurance.
Commissioner Akers.
Thank you. Well, first of all, Travis, I think that was a low blow, and you know what you said right there to somebody sitting here. But guys, we're close on this budget. Could we probably, reality, if you really look at the numbers, do it without much of a tax increase? Yes. But again, if we do that, and I think we should cut it down a little bit, the cents, and we've got some money to work with. We just need to be very cognizant of the fact of, for the next 12 months, not to be very careful of what we're going to spend during the year on the amendments. I think that's the biggest key, is we can trim 2, 3, 4 cents off the tax rate and maybe be okay. Now we got to make sure all the collections happen and you know, stuff like that. So I think that's where we are, but if we do that, then we need to be very cognizant of what we do during the year. And I think that's where we really need to lay out.
Commissioner Vanover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we can all remember about 2 years ago, we couldn't find teachers, we couldn't find deputies, we couldn't find workers at all in this county, and now we don't seem to have that problem. Teachers are being paid about what they're worth now, or almost what they're worth finally. Our sheriff's department's not having to go to PAL and try to recruit employees, and we just talked about so many people getting ready to retire from the highway department. We need to be thinking about hiring some people there and get them in line for when that big retirement does come. So I think we would be very wise to keep the 5% pay increase for our county employees. So let's not go backwards. Let's not take a step backwards on that. So let's try to keep that in there if we can.
That clears the board on item number 2. Commissioner King, but have anything before I recognize you on item number 3?
No, I'm done.
Anyone else seek recognition on item number 2? Without objection, recognize Commissioner King on item number 3.
All right, I've hoped that everybody's had a chance to voice their opinion on this budget and bring ideas and whatever, and we've had some things that we're probably going to have to look at that's been brought forward. During the last week, I've talked to a lot of people and had a lot of phone calls and trying to figure out where we need to be and where everybody could be happy with the budget that we're going to bring forward. With that said, and taking the money from what's going to be returned, hopefully that'll hold up to what it has been in the years past, using that money. I think we could do a budget with a 5 cents, and I'd be willing to do an amendment to that, and then we can vote on it when the time is ready. And I think, to me, that's about as low as we can go. With everything that we've done, what the budget committee's been through and things that we've talked about and tried to do, I think 5 cents would work.
Let's introduce item number 3, resolution appropriating funds to various charitable, civic, and nonprofit organizations for the fiscal year. That's the resolution. Anyone seek recognition on item number 3? Commissioner Locke.
We've already talked about it. We've pretty much talked about all that.
Just had,
my button for the amendment.
okay, we were just had to enter it in the record and
understand.
open the floor up for discussion. Anyone seek recognition on item number 3?
again, say this again, that I think we could, put a 5 cents reduction and get it down to 5 cents. And, I think, from what I'm hearing from other commissioners, that they would be happy with that. I know the taxpayers would be, because when we first started on this, we was $1.33 or something, and, we've come a long way. But, and like David said, Commissioner Akers said, next year, we're just not gonna be able to spend money like, there's no tomorrow. We're gonna have to tighten our belts up if this is, because if everything goes good, I mean, if our money comes in, our taxes come in, and everything is, the way it is this year, will be okay. And if we have some big hiccups, it's gonna be tough for Larry to sharpen his pencil enough to get us through. And, that's, there again, I'd like to thank Larry and his, Leslie and his, people that's worked on this. They spend a lot of time doing this. He'll say, well, that's my job, but yes, but you've done a good job, and you've got us somewhere that, when you start looking at the cities and other counties around us, I think we've done well for the taxpayers. And that's who, when I'm voting on something, that's who I'm looking forward to, is the taxpayers that I represent in my county and all Sullivan County also. So, with that said, I'd be more than willing to amend it with some of the things that was talked about in here, and hopefully we can go forward then.
Thank you, Commissioner King. Recognize Commissioner Glover.
Larry, on this 5 cents, and you were talking about some of the money being turned back in, if that kind of money don't come back in, what is the scenario? Pulling more money out of the general fund to balance this?
Well, the history is, unless something really exceptional happens, we will have a good portion turned back in. That can always happen, you see the floods and things like that, but unless there's something really extraordinary happens, it should come back in. I can't guarantee it, I can't guarantee anything, but we'll work with it to try, and we maybe come back to this body, pointing out some things we're wanting to do in places we may have to hold up on. But the sheriff has worked with us on his payroll and so forth, and reduce some things not to put in right now, that he's not gonna be needing all of it next year, because he won't have the people hired. And there's exceptions like that, and I think there'll be some other things come up during the year that are slower than what we expect for a good spend. But it's not necessary that it be that way, but we'll have some advantages. We'll always have a few things we have to correct for, but hopefully we won't start any programs, that's what I'm getting at, like we've done in the past in situations.
Well, this discussion tonight has been very good for all of us. We've sat here all year long and talked about this. There've been some high dollar resolutions coming here. A lot of money being spent in here. And I hope this has opened up some eyes. I don't know if it has or not. I know the taxpayers has paid attention to it. And I think there's a lot of resolutions that's been brought in here that was high dollar, people sponsored, and now they're panicking, trying to figure out how we'll pay for it. So I think we need to get by as cheap as we can, but we don't need to put ourselves in a bind either. So I hope this coming year, and Sam mentioned something I remember about school system. Better get ready. Better get ready. It's coming, because it's not going to be there. And we sat here and tried to explain to them that it wasn't going to be there, and it didn't go over very well. So it's coming. So get ready for that. And I hope we can make it through. We're going to have to tighten the belt and lace the shoes up and say, hey, we're sorry. And I don't want to hear no more of this, well, they need that. I've heard that so many times. I'm damn sick of it. They need that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I'm done.
Commissioner Akers.
Thank you. Larry, when some of us first got on here, was it 18? Do we not have to do a tax anticipation note or loan or something? I remember.
I don't think we did it 18, I believe before.
It was
Very
sometime.
close to that period.
Yeah. So what I say is, yes, while we want to be fiscally responsible, we also don't want to cut so low that we put ourselves in a bind. Because that surprised me when that happened. Maybe I was out here in the audience watching, decided to go over to the, yeah, but it was sometime in that time frame where we had to do that. And so, and that's essentially getting a loan against our tax.
Those are things 14 or 15.
Yeah, it was sometime, it was surprising. Wasn't that long ago? So, we have done well with collections of sales tax and everything going on. Now that hotel tax, people want to be here, but they also want to be here because it's a great place to live and it's an affordable place to live. So, yeah, I think if we can tighten our belt a little bit, modest possible little increase, we should be okay. But yeah, let's not cut too bad, and then we're having to take out loans against ourselves.
Thank you, Commissioner Aker. Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, could you tell me what is the cost of the benefits for a family of four, like health coverage for family of four? Would that be about $400 a month?
Probably $300-400 for family coverage.
So $400.
The figure is, I looked at this afternoon, but I wasn't ready to answer that question.
And could you tell me
Yes,
what
there are different plans too.
okay,
Big.
yeah, I'm just looking for a
Cadillac
ballpark.
plans, then we got a lot more, but it's what they elect. We contribute based on the plan, the same dollar amount regardless of which plan they take. We don't get a percentage. They choose the plan, single employee only, family coverage, it's $7 for each one of those coverages. That's it. But
So,
I can send that to you.
do you have an estimate on how much that's going to increase for our employees?
Well, they have told us what the overall average increase is going to be, but I don't think they've given us a breakdown on each.
Just a ballpark.
Normally that happens, they say it's going to be, 5% increase for everybody across the board. However, some it will be different. So, we got a choice between Cigna, Blue Cross, a little bit of difference there. There's a little bit of difference in.
So if they're paying, just so I can understand this, so if they're paying $400 a month for their health coverage, and they've got a 5% increase on that, that would be $20, is that correct? Is that correct, $20?
Yep.
So for the year, that would be $240, correct? 20 times, about $240 is what they're going to expect to have to increase their benefits for their health. So if we have someone that's making $50,000 and we've got a 5% increase, that's $2,500, right? And so they'd have to take $240 out of that. You're still going to have an increase of roughly $2,250, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually our pay increases exceed what any insurance or any other benefit is, normally speaking, unless they go for the Cadillac plan, if they get a good part of it. Because most of our people have the same plan, and the least expensive plan, and it does well, and we have very few complaints about it. The only charge is if you do have surgery, gallbladder removed, you're probably going to have to put up your copay $6,000. And you do have seen people do that. It's painful, but very few complaints about our insurance these days. Where up until we got this one on the state plan, we had a lot of complaints because we were changing every year or every other year, and they couldn't figure out what to add. I agree with you. You were simple claim.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we distinguish the increase and how much that would roughly cost the county employees, so.
I did have a commissioner over the years said we give them a raise and we take it away in their insurance. Well, the other side of that is the insurance goes up. If we increase the insurance on years they don't get a raise, because if you get a raise, then that's not good. It's painful, but if we can keep it, them getting raises, and we can cover their increase in cost for other
Right.
things.
I agree. Thank you.
Commissioner Jones.
I appreciate the discussion about the insurance, having served on that committee and over the years to see us go from a self-funded plan to having the coverage we have now, and it's really good coverage. But these employees are the people that are out there paving the roads and pushing the snow when it's bad weather. They're out there picking up the trash and hauling it. They're out there making those collections for the taxes coming in. They're the ones selling the tags and doing all the work that's done in this county. And I appreciate them so much. 5% is nothing, because when it goes up, the insurance goes up, but you also have your other deductions that are coming out for your Medicare and your Social Security, all these other things that come out of your check. We're fortunate to be able to have the employees we got and to be able to pay them and take care of them and keep them, and not have to have department heads come and say, man, I can't keep the employees. We don't have, they're going elsewhere because of the pay. We're very fortunate to have good employees in this county, and I would support that raise. Thank you.
Commissioner Crosswhite.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll reinstate what Sam did. When I first became a commissioner in 2018, I knew the former commission had done a pay study. So I took it on myself. I started looking at employees' pays. And we were 20% behind the national averaging. I had never had any of my people that called me complain about what our employees make, because they know they work hard. And there was one year, Gary will remember, that we refused to take what little bit of raise we got from the state, because we didn't give, I don't think, the employees a raise. But no, we need to take care of our employees, and just like Mr. Jones said, we're very fortunate in this county that we have people that want to work here. So let's give them the 5%. If we can do more, let's do it.
Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you. I agree, and I support this as well. I just wanted to make sure people knew that we weren't given an increase that was just going to cover their health care coverage, that it will cover that and much more. So, thank you.
Commissioner Calton.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. It don't only cover insurance, it's cost of living. If you've been to the grocery store lately, or if you paid your electricity bill, or you paid your water bill, it's went up.
Recognize Commissioner King.
Okay, any more discussion? Or was you?
I was going to give you the final word. Okay. Commissioner Ward actually has something like that. Commissioner Ward.
I thought we was done.
Okay.
Hunter, answer a question for me. What's Kingsport, what kind of employee raise are they getting this year? 14, 15%?
Commissioner Locke, you can answer that if you wish.
So it's 18% across the board.
Oh, I'm sorry, 18%.
18%.
Dave?
And last year, in the middle of the fiscal year, Kingsport Police got an increase straight off the bat.
Okay.
Because they couldn't hire people. They had so many slots open.
Exactly.
They distributed out to their current employees to keep them so they wouldn't leave because they couldn't afford to lose them.
Right.
Bristol, they had an increase last year in the middle of the fiscal year.
They got 8% last year and they get another 8% this year, so they're 16%.
That's right.
And we're just sitting here talking about 5% for probably some of the best employees in the state. And now we're talking about maybe possibly cutting it. I think we cleaned that mess up from previous. I hope we're not about to go back and start talking about. It seems like we're looking at the easy things to talk about.
Remember when all these teachers were in here and they're about to leave?
Oh, I remember.
We need to maintain.
I just think we need to peel this banana back here and get to the root of it. We give you about 3 good ways to fix this budget.
We need to maintain our general fund employees. Exactly. And we also need to take care of our teachers that educate the young ones growing up in this county. And I think with everybody's opinions and what they've said tonight, I think it's up to Mr. King. He's the chairman of the budget committee. And I think he said 5% tax increase and the rest, 5-cent tax increase and the rest come out of the general fund. I think that's what he said, what everybody's on board with. Is that right, Mr. King?
That's what I'm hearing from the other commissioners, yes.
I think that's, we can get an amendment to that instead of the 9 cent. I think we come in here next Thursday and hear the public speak on it. I think we vote on it.
Excuse me. Commissioner Locke has the floor.
You want the amendment for next week, Mr. King?
Yes.
Then I propose that amendment if you'll accept it for next Thursday before public comment. That way everybody knows instead of 9 cents, it's 5 cents.
I'll accept.
Okay.
We'll make that known in public proper.
Right.
Commissioner King, do you have any final comments?
No, I think we've covered everything about as good as we can. We can too. We can. We can. No.
Commissioner King has the floor.
No. But anyway, there's been a lot of work going into this. Whether you believe that or not, there's been a lot of work to go into this. But still, I appreciate our budget committee and the other 2 committees bringing all that stuff to us, all the information and their ideas and stuff. I didn't mention the sheriff and Mr. Carswell. They helped us cut, and I appreciate that. That's part of it. Hopefully we can get that money back to them and when they need it. And but with that said, I'm done with this, so let's adjourn.
I really hope if he was offering that in a formal motion, would you mind to withdraw that? The adjournment motion, because we have people wishing to.
I'll withdraw that. Okay. You got more people?
Yes, sir.
I thought everybody's done.
Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you. I do support this increase for the county employees. I just think it's worthy of us to have discussion so that our taxpayers can hear all of the issues, all of the concerns, and they have accurate information, especially the ones in Bristol and Kingsport. And I hope, and we're checking on this, but I hope that people have said accurate information as far as what these increases were, because we are not aware of that. So we'll look into that, but again, I support it, but I think it's worthy of discussing. We need to get all this out on the floor. We need to be transparent with our taxpayers so that they understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. And before I open the floor up for announcements, I'm very thankful for this particular meeting to be able to do this. We did clean the ditch lines out a few times, but I was appreciative we were able to have this particular discussion on this particular evening so that we could do what we did. We talked about it, we vetted things, because I'd like for us to come in next week as planned and vote based on facts and stats and numbers and not anything else. Without objection, the floor is open for announcements, and I have one. I'd like to add the, I'll probably take a little ribbing for this, but the Miss Kingsport Sullivan County pageant is this Saturday night, and they were scraping the bottom for judges, and I'm going to be a judge. Does anyone have any, but that's going to be at Ross Robinson Middle School this Saturday night. Anyone wishes to come? If you would like to come, let me know.
I'm not giving any money. No.
Okay, I'm not buying your ticket either. Anyone have any other announcements that they wish to make? Commissioner Ward.
I say we make an amendment for 5 cents, go down to about 2 cents.
You can do that next week.
Okay.
Anyone have any other announcements they wish to make? Have a motion to adjourn. All in favor of adjournment until this Thursday next? Stand adjourned.